And we're back from a long vacation. Welcome to the CFB Season Show. I'm your host, Chris. You can find me on Twitter at CFB Talk 07. Austin, a month off, man.
Dude, I missed it. I thought I was looking forward to a break, but I'm ready to get back at it.
I did too. That's why I did I think we had a guest interview last week. Anybody want to check it out, go to YouTube at CFB underscore SZN, where we talked to the guy about all things Texas football. And I did that, and it got me like right back in the mood of it. I was ready to do another show like the next night.
Yeah. Hey, you
I,
should have called. You should have called me. I'd have jumped on because I was ready too.
yeah, it's anything interesting you done the last month of June while we were off?
No, man. Just spent some time with family is all I've done. That and work.
And watch the
Um,
Braves up.
I I don't even want to. I don't even know why I have it on right now, but I
I've
do.
got it on too.
I'm a glutton for punishment. So, no, I hadn't traveled all over the world like you have.
30 hours, and
That's crazy,
I
man.
drove 30 hours in between my vacation. It was rough.
That's insane.
It was rough.
Um,
And then I
I,
drive for work, so
That's what I was gonna say. It was just like a normal work week for you.
yeah.
So you got
Um,
you all over the country. Look like season all over the country right now.
Last I
Um,
remembered, season was in Arkansas, but I think he's back home today. I think he's back home. I don't know. Maybe he'll chime in on the comments. I ain't sure.
yeah,
Um, yeah, my vacation was pretty good. That's we like you said, we traveled, went to Texas, visit my family. It was a lot of good time though. Glad to be back on it though. All right, so I didn't prep you with this, and we haven't done it in a while, but I've got a question of the day.
let's go.
Um, I don't think this is going to be hard, honestly. I'm probably going to be disappointed. I'm actually trying to find it because I'm an idiot and didn't have it ready. Because I think I already know your answer. Um,
Okay.
I know I know my answer. All right, let's see if I can find it. All right, here it is. Chris Phillips on Twitter. He runs SEC Unfiltered podcast, YouTube show, all that. He had posed this question on Twitter. Would you punch your best friend in the face
Yes.
as hard as you could?
Oh, sorry. There's more. Finish it.
As hard as you could to guarantee your favorite college football team a national championship this season.
Oh, without a doubt.
I would take a bamboo stick to you.
Yeah, I know you
As
would. You'd take an umbrella to me, wouldn't
I would, I
you?
would, I would, I would, I would punch you so dead come hard if it meant another national championship.
I know that's right, man. I will tell you this. I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier, and I know you're about to not trying to segue into it, but we're about to talk about some recruiting stuff. But seeing Bama this week have some really good success in recruiting is kind of, I don't know. It's kind of got some fire back in me, and I don't want to say I ever got to a point to where under Saban where it's like it was national championship was kind of expected, but maybe it was, but I don't know that uncertainty feeling, but also the certainty of getting better, kind of has that fire back in me. Um, I thought you were going to ask a question: would I take a Braves World Series or a Bama national championship?
Ooh,
And right now, honestly, with the fire I have, I would take a Bama national championship over it.
yeah. Just because college football is my favorite, but that is tougher than when you think about it, especially with how the Braves are playing.
Well, yeah, I'm not even talking about that as much as I just I'm pulling for DeBoer, man, and he seems to have some momentum going in the right direction. I'm ready to get the products on the field and see if it turns into wins.
That's going to be a perfect segue because they have been on an absolute heater last month and this month. I believe they got 9 kids in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think they've gotten what I like 3 wide receivers in the past 3 days.
Yeah, and I think they have. If I matter of fact, we can look real quick. I think they have the most 5 stars. They've got 4 5 stars. If you look at the top 10, I'm not going to scroll all the way through this thing, but Michigan 0, Miami 1, Alabama 4, Ohio State 2, LSU 2, Texas A&M
Wow.
1, Notre Dame 1, Georgia 1, and USC 1, who's the number 1 class. And what's fascinating to me is, or what's great about that is, especially in this whole new era that we're in college football, you're not seeing a lot of teams hoard like a bunch of 5 stars like you used to. You're seeing it more spread out among the 5 stars. So the fact that Alabama, DeBoer, and that staff has been able to get 4 5 stars is that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, and you know me, I've been sort of, I don't want to say down, but trying not to get too high on what the expectations are. But he's raised the bar the last couple of weeks, and the 5 star we picked up today,
Mm-hmm.
in state kid. So I always love to see making sure we keep the talent at home.
Yeah, huge wide receiver. Georgia was Georgia tried to late get into that, but most Georgia fans knew it wasn't going to happen. I think we got in really late on that one, and he visited Georgia a couple of times, and it looked like it was gonna. It was like, all right, we're making a little run on it, but no. Another big one, Xavier Griffin. That's a kid Georgia was trying to get in on forever. He lives in the state of Georgia.
Yeah,
That was a big one. Linebacker, 6'3", 205, 5 star kid, 27th ranked kid, and then you got the number 1 or the number 2 running back in the country, and Kroll, from another kid from Alabama, Jackson,
yeah,
Alabama. So, a lot of worries about the Alabama run game. That's a good start right there to get a running back
no,
of that
absolutely.
caliber. Um, and then also on the heater, the class that just jumped up to number 2. A lot of Georgia fans have been worried. Kirby Smart saves his job once again because Georgia fans have been up in arms about recruiting, and they actually have gotten 15 commits in the month of June.
Wow,
15. And hey, how about this? You know this kid. Do you know his brother?
is that Minka?
That's Minka's brother.
Come on, Minka, you couldn't get your brother to come to Bama?
Minka's brother committed. He was the first kid, I believe, that committed in June. He kind of started this wave. But yeah, we had Minka's brother who's good in his own right. He's ranked 65th in the country, 8th cornerback. He's plays down there in Fort Lauderdale. Um, he kind of started it off. That was a big one. I couldn't believe we got him, but apparently Minka and Kirby's obviously really close from their time in Bama.
That makes sense.
Got a defensive lineman stolen from Miami, James Johnson, which I love. We need defensive linemen. Got another defensive lineman in PJ Dean, Brooks Edge from North Oconee. Bunch of Cockrit boy, Jalen Moore committed.
Nice. Running back.
120 code. He's good. He's really good. I don't know. He needs to work on. He doesn't do a lot of inside running. A lot of like he does a lot of the outside stuff. He's got to work on that. But yeah, it's been a banger of a month for Georgia and Alabama. And that's not only two. LSU just got a commitment tonight. They've been kind of on a banger. Texas A&M is a sneaky underrated class that's sneaking up there that could really actually be the number 1 class. But yeah, man, it's a banger. That's got to give you confidence in DeBoer. That's one of the things that everybody worried about when he was hired.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the biggest things was, everybody said he couldn't recruit in the South, and I don't know. One of the first things I think we've talked about before, I always look at, are you keeping the in-state talent home? And, can you? And obviously, he's shown he can go into Kirby's territory and compete. So I'll take it.
Yep. And to the Georgia fans that thought the new era was going to slow Kirby Smart down, that's not the case, my friends. He is still the man. All right. let's get into some win totals. Um, I guess you want to go ahead and give me one that you like.
Um, yeah, I kind of broke it down by conference. So I don't know if that's how you have yours, but we can jump around or we can go straight down. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna start in the SEC, and I'm gonna go Florida, man. Seven and a half.
Mm-hmm.
7.5. They won 8 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me you think this team's going to be worse than they were last year? And I just don't think that. Assuming, and we've talked about this, and the only thing that holds me back with Florida is if DJ goes down, if he gets injured, what does that look like? Because they drop way down. Um, but I don't see any way this team is worse than they were last year. I mean, don't get me wrong, the schedule is a gauntlet, but I think they pull out enough of those to get. And I think 8 is the bottom.
Yeah, that's actually a team I wanted to write down. I had a feeling I wrote down a couple. I wrote down probably 5 or 6 teams because I didn't know if we were going to hit the same ones. But
Yeah,
let's
I
look
got
at
several.
Florida's schedule. I'm with you though. I would take the over too. I was thinking about that earlier. I mean they've
You got
got Long Island. Actually, let's try to pull it up on the screen here. Yes, schedules. This is bad podcasting, but we had a month off, so bear with us.
give us a break.
Yeah, let's look at Florida's schedule real quick. But I liked them. I liked it too, man. I'm really high on Florida this year with Lagway. The receivers are what really I'm really excited about. Yeah, this ain't working. You know what?
I
I
got
don't
the
think.
schedule. I got the schedule right here.
Oh, I do too. I was gonna try to pull it up on the
Oh,
screen.
okay, okay, I got you.
Anyway, so Long Island University, that's a win. South Florida win. Then they
Yep,
got two games: LSU, Miami. I'm gonna say LSU toss up. Let's just do that a toss up.
yep,
Miami, I'm gonna say is a win.
I agree.
Texas, I'll go ahead and say is a loss.
Yep,
Texas A&M, I'll say toss up. And then the rest of the schedule, man, I see. We'll say Georgia's a loss. So we'll say the two guaranteed losses is Georgia, and I don't even know if you can say LSU to be honest because they beat them last year.
right.
Let's see, how many guaranteed wins do you see? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
And so that means all they got to do is win one
one
more,
game. That was my thought.
and that's out of like Texas A&M, Miami if you want to put that as a toss up, Ole Miss if you want to put that. Yeah, I think they're gonna get over 8.
I do too.
Like I
Yeah.
don't think it's yeah.
I mean, if they roll off of how they finished the season last year and continue to play like that, I mean, honestly, they could make a run for the East this year.
Yeah. Well, there is no more East, remember?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's right.
I wish there was.
No, I know, but um, well,
All right.
there'll always be a West and the East in my mind.
It's hard. It's still hard to get, kind of out of that
Yeah,
mindset when we've been in it so long.
right.
All right. You know what one I had? I got Utah 7.5 over.
I
They
saw
went,
that, and
yeah,
I knew that was going to be on yours.
yeah. They went, they went 5-7 last year. I looked at the schedule. Um, I'm trying to pull it up again. Here we go. Boom! I got it. Look at that.
You got it.
I got it.
I ain't worried about pulling it up then.
There we go. All right. So number one, I like. Obviously, we've talked on the show before. Devin Dampier being the quarterback there. I really like him. Electric quarterback from New Mexico transferred over. And what makes it even better, his OC came with him, Jason Beck. He runs a pretty cool, unique offense, something Utah doesn't ever run. Utah's always kind of been like old school style offensive football. But then I looked at the schedule, man. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I see at least 4 wins, and it's the Big 12, so I can see. I
Yeah.
say UCLA too. Yeah, so I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that BYU lost a quarterback.
Yeah.
6 Colorado with all the losses they have, possibly 7 Cincinnati. I don't know, man. I really like that 7.5 number. I see him. I can see him getting to 8-4 pretty easy.
Yeah, I can see it. I still. I mean, they've got to turn a lot around on that offense, and I know it's a brand new offense, so they will and they can. But I still got to see it from them, and I still blame that on you for pointing out how bad they were last year, and making me watch some Utah games. But like I said, I know it's going to have a completely new look, completely new, scheme, everything. But they got to show me something first.
Yeah.
If I had to put money on it right now,
Would you take the under?
I'd take the under.
Mm.
I think 7.
I mean,
You said you said it was 7.5, right?
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah.
All right, what's another one you have? I know it's gonna be. You're gonna get mine.
I mean, I don't want to get yours, so you can say what you want. I want to bring up something. I want to pose a question.
Okay.
To you. I want to do an over under for a conference.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, the Big 12 is projected to be a super tight race this year, right?
Oh yeah.
Kind of up in the air with what we come up with, like 5, 6, 7 teams that have a legitimate shot.
It could be more than that. I mean, when I looked at Utah's schedule, all their Big Ten games were like toss up except for Cincinnati.
The highest over under set in the Big 12 is 8.5, and that's Arizona State and Kansas State.
Which blows my mind.
Does a team get to 9 wins in the Big 12 this year?
Yeah, I think Arizona State.
Yeah,
I'm shocked Arizona. I didn't write Arizona State down, and I haven't looked at their schedule. We can pull it up.
yeah. I'll be honest. I
didn't.
didn't even prep. I didn't look at their schedule. I didn't do anything like that. I just knowing how I'm with you though. I think it just surprised me to see it, and only had 2 teams at 8.5. Now there was a slew of them at 7.5.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see how. I don't understand it. Like I understand Cam Scatterby was was a big part of that team, and maybe I'm just wrong. I'm the running back guy. I love the running back position.
Yeah.
But man, they have Sam Levitt coming back, and like he's getting a lot of hype. I'm a big fan of Sam Levitt. I think he's gonna do great. I think he has a chance to go to New York. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he has a chance. They got that wide receiver back that was really good. I don't know, man. Maybe they're just it's the Big 12, and any given year anybody can win it, and every
Yeah.
game's like 3.5 point spread. So when it's like that, anything could happen. Looking at their schedule, I mean, I think they're going to beat Northern Arizona. I think they're going to beat Mississippi State.
I do too.
I think they're going to beat Texas State. So that's 3-0 right there. And then yeah, Baylor's a toss up because we're high on Baylor. TCU's a sleeper. I could see that. Utah, I could see that. Texas Tech, Houston, I'll give them that win. So now we're at 4. Iowa State's a toss up. West Virginia, I think it ought to be 5. I think Colorado will be 6. I think Arizona's 7. Well, God, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you break it down like that,
I mean,
it just depends on how much you're reading into Utah, how much you're reading into Texas Tech, and Iowa State's always one of those teams that you know, and TCU. Um, I still think they find a way to get to 9 wins.
I think so too. I think they're going to win the Big 12 again. Well, as of now, tune in July or previews. Um, I got a team that is to me the easiest, and I don't understand how the win total is set here. I don't get it. And I also want to say this for anybody that's watching. Do not take gambling advice from me. Maybe Austin, but not from me. I will let you log into my Prize Picks apps, and I promise you, you do not want to take gambling advice from me. So, I promise you. But I'm surprised that this number's set at 9.5. I'm taking the over on Clemson.
Dude, I didn't even prep it, wrote it down. Like
Yeah.
I went through their schedule and it's just like, come on, man. Yeah.
I mean,
Um if, if
let's
they
just
don't if they
assume.
if they don't win 11 games,
Yeah.
10 is you lose to LSU and then slip up in one game during the season.
Yeah. So
Um
that's what I wrote down right here in my notes. So let's just assume they lose both their SEC games, which is LSU and South Carolina. That's still 10-2 because they have home games against FSU, Duke, and SMU. They have road conference games in North Carolina, Boston College, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. I'll grant Georgia Tech and Louisville could be tough, but you're way more talented both teams. You shouldn't lose that. Yeah, man. And right now, they're 2.5 point favorites versus LSU. So Vegas thinks, you
yeah.
know, they're the favorites. And I don't know, man. I don't know why that's set at 9.5. I don't know much about gambling, to be honest with you. Which is why I'm telling people do not take any bets that I put down. But I don't know, man. I don't understand that 9.5 line because I
Yeah,
think they're getting 10 wins easy.
I thought that was the most blaring one on the entire sheet going through it.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, almost to the point it's like not even worth talking about because I mean, and maybe we're sitting here in December going, well, I mean, what's your famous saying? Vegas didn't get all those shiny lights by losing.
Yeah, they
Um,
don't have all those shiny buildings.
I just I don't see it.
I don't either. 10-2.
Uh, while we're in the ACC,
Oh yeah.
North Carolina going 7.5.
Somebody,
What's
this would be actually my first time. We're fixing to pull it up. My first time looking at their schedule, but I was listening to a podcast the other day that said they had an extremely easy schedule. Let's go through it. TCU. I'm gonna give that to TCU.
yeah,
Oh my God. Charlotte, Richmond, UCF. I'll give them 3 wins there. Clemson lost, then Cal, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford. Good God, their schedule is easy.
yeah, it is pretty easy. I don't
Wow.
know. I and maybe I'm getting I always tell you I try not to watch too much of the media stuff that's not about football, but maybe I'm getting caught up in too much of the BS going on outside of football there, and it just feels like the whole season may be a crapshoot for them, but we'll see.
Dude, I
I,
easily see 7. And so say they get to 7, then all they need to do is win one against either Duke, North Carolina State, or who's the other one I had a toss up? Syracuse,
yeah,
which could easily happen.
no, you're right. And that's why like I said, I didn't have that as one of my teams. I just kind of wrote it down with a question mark because I wanted to look at it. But the schedule is super easy, and if they put any type of, he's got to put some kind of product out, right?
Yeah. I
I
don't know.
mean,
I mean, I'll be curious to see what his girlfriend, the assistant coach, what kind of plan she has for all this.
see, yeah. I mean, we may get a letter from her after this show, but
The way she does on Twitter, she'll just block you.
yeah, fair enough.
Actually, she won't block you. The North Carolina account will. It actually happened. I've seen somebody comment about that.
Um,
What's another team you
who?
have? Or who? What?
I want to get your opinion on one. Let's look at Michigan.
Oh, I wrote that one down.
Yeah. So when I first looked, 9.5. I mean, I wrote under in big letters, but then you go look at their schedule,
Is it
and then
nine
you're
and a half?
kind of yeah. It's Michigan's at 9.5.
Really? I wrote down
Yeah.
8 and a half for some reason.
No, it's 9.5. Unless I looked at it wrong.
No, you did not. Probably not. Anyway, go ahead.
But then you go look at their schedule, and you're kind of like, "Ugh, yeah, I can see it. But then you start thinking, you know, I'm never, again, don't take gambling advice, but I'd never want to put money on a freshman quarterback.
Mhm.
Um, and there's just a lot of, they play a lot of those should win games, you know. They don't play Oregon, they don't play Penn State this season. They've got Ohio State at home. Um, so I don't know.
Um,
What's your thoughts?
I'm going under.
That's where I have under written down.
Yeah, I went, and it's crazy. I wrote under thinking it was 8 and a half when it's really 9 and a half. I just looked it up too. So I
Yeah,
don't get. It seems like Michigan's getting. I wouldn't say a lot of hype, but they're getting some love this off season, and I just don't understand it, to be honest with you, man. The offense can't get any worse than it was last year, but I don't think it's going to be much better with a freshman quarterback. Who, by the way, I'm extremely high on. I think he's going to be like
I
the
agree.
next,
I think he's gonna be great.
he's going to be the
But
next superstar, but it's not going to be this year. We'll probably see flashes, um, but I don't think he's going to be the next. I don't think he's going to be Cam Newton next year. I just don't expect it to be much better on offense, and I don't. I think they have a wide receiver problem. I don't think the wide receivers got better. I don't think they went out and got anybody that was to replace what they've lost, and who they lost wasn't that good either. And then on top of that, they lost their tight end Loveland, which was their best receiving threat in an offense that was really bad. The defense lost a lot. um, but yeah, and they play Oklahoma, I believe, week 2. Do you have the schedule? Look, are you looking at it?
they no, but I have it. I had it up. They do play Oklahoma week 2.
I think I'm not that high on Oklahoma like a lot of people are, but I think Oklahoma's going to beat them because that
Yeah,
defense is nasty.
pretty sure it's in Norman too.
Yeah, and that defense is nasty. I know we want to talk about the offense and all that, but that Oklahoma defense is nasty. They I think you know how bad that defense is. Um, but yeah, that defense is nasty. So I think they lose to Oklahoma. I think they could. They're definitely. Well, let me take it back. I was about to say they was definitely going to lose Ohio State. I'm not making that mistake again.
I know. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're gonna lose to Ohio State this year. They're not gonna keep beating Ohio State. Eventually, Ohio State will get a win. So I do think this is the year Ohio State gets a win. I could see Nebraska beating them, Illinois beating them, USC maybe.
That's what I
Um,
said. So now that you're looking at their schedule, like they have a lot of those like should win games, but
yeah,
being young and with a questionable offense, they're games you could lose you know in the blink of an eye. So
yeah. You know what?
um,
I have one that you're gonna love, but I think you. No, I think you're gonna go over on this one. I really do. But I'm gonna give a little. I'm gonna go ahead and say something that I probably should say for our preview, but I am going over 9.5 Bama because that is the team that I have playing in Atlanta this year.
wow.
Um, People, let's stop like the Kalen DeBoer conversation this offseason. Like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe I'm blinded, but I just feel like people forget how good of a coach he is. I think the defense is going to be absolutely elite. It was really good last year. Um, And you know what? Just doubt Keelan DeBoer and doubt Ryan Grubb all you want. And but I think the offense is going to be better. It wasn't like I was looking it up during the prep. The offense was sixth in offensive S&P plus, which is a advanced stats metrics, 16th in explosiveness, and sixth in scoring points per scoring opportunity. They couldn't run the ball that well. They got to get that fixed. The running game was bad. I think Jalen Milroe was their leading rusher.
He was.
And
I
they
think
got
we
to get
lean,
that fixed.
I think we leaned on that a lot too.
Yeah,
I don't think he's elite, but I think Jam Miller's a solid back.
yeah,
I think if we get some scheme in there to get him some blocking and things like that, um, because you got to think, and you know I love Milroe, I love his heart, I love his attitude, but teams knew he was not a huge arm threat, and you know they were able to keep a lot of eyes in the backfield. Now most of that was for Milroe, but when you do hand it off, you know all eyes are still right there. So, you know that makes it hard to run the football. So, I do think taking away a running quarterback will help us to become more balanced. Um, Even if we go back to an old Bama style you know, game manager, if you will, quarterback,
yeah.
with a solid run game. So, I'm 9.5. I think I've got us right now. I'm going to say under. By the time season previews get, I've got us at 9 right now. Um, by season previews, I may change that.
Max gonna pull up their schedule right now because I
Um,
don't. I looked at it earlier and I was like, I don't see it.
it's an
No matter.
SEC schedule, man. That's like the whole. That's
Yeah,
like
that's
Florida.
true.
When you first look at Florida, 7.5, you're like, man, we got Florida. You know, what we have them in the top 15 in the country, and
Yeah.
you're saying this team's only going to win 7 games this season. And then you go look at the schedule, and it's just yes, it should be there.
I mean, no matter what, whatever his name is at FSU says, that's gonna be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
they're gonna start off 4-0.
yeah. So 1, 2, 3. I
No, I'm kidding. Um,
was sitting there
no,
going, yeah, yeah, and then I got to Georgia and was like, oh.
no, take the Georgia one out.
So you got
No,
3-0 right there for sure, because I think
no,
Wisconsin's going to be bad this year.
yeah, I think we'll be fine there. No way Vandy beats them again. Like
No,
that, they
no,
won't let that happen.
I'm not
I
that high
think,
on Missouri, so that's there you go. That's
I think they handle Tennessee. I'm not that high on South Carolina. I think they're fine.
7.
So
And now all you got
LSU.
to do is that Eastern Illinois is 8, and then you got LSU, Oklahoma, Auburn.
So if we lost to Georgia and LSU, really that
Yeah,
should be it.
that should be it. And there's
Fair
why
enough.
I don't think this schedule is as hard as
It's not, but
it looks on paper.
but that still makes you have to win every single other game, and I think they can and should.
Yeah,
Just after last year, I mean, there was too many mental mistakes, but I'm hoping, uh, you know, Ryan Grubb comes in. That Oklahoma game, Oklahoma was not a better football team than Alabama last year. And come at me with all you want. Yes, they beat us. Like, but they just weren't ready to play that football game. Vanderbilt was not a better football team than Alabama was last year. We just weren't ready to play that football game. So I really hope Ryan Grubb comes in and fixes all of that, cleans that up, and
I think
10 wins should be the minimum though.
I think so. And right now, subject to change. We're only a couple of weeks away from which our SEC preview, I think, is our last preview of the off season. So that won't be till middle of August. But so it could really change between now and then. But I'm telling you, as of today, I've already got one team locked in to the SEC championship game, and it's going to be Alabama. I think, and like I said, we'll get to our previews on why I'm not going to pick Texas, or I could. Who knows? Could be Alabama or Texas. Um, but Yeah, I'm high on Alabama this year. I've been high on them this whole offseason, so we've got a lot of video evidence. If they end up doing what I think they're going to do, I'm definitely going to post them because I see on Twitter all the time Alabama's cooked. You know what else bugs me is, and this is mainly probably around the Alabama fans, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't. I think if Nick, I mean, you talked about this. I think if Nick Saban was here last year, it would have been the same damn results.
Oh, it 100% would have been. I
Like,
think.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh no, what I was going to say is like, I do think Nick Saban retired because of NIL. I think Nick Saban retired because of the new era of college football. But I don't think this gets talked about enough. I think Nick Saban also retired because he knew, like, he was not he's the GOAT, but I think he knew that things were starting to level out and Bama just wasn't Bama. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in like he probably knew, hey, 9-3, that might start happening more often because we're not as dominant as we used to be. We're now just a really good football team, and
Well,
I think he just kind of knew that, and he was like, let me. The great ones usually know when to walk away.
I agree with that. I know you've studied Saban a lot and read a bunch of his books and things like that. I think what hurt Saban is don't get me wrong, and especially in today's era, we judge greatness off of championships, so, which is why he goes down as the GOAT, right?
Yeah,
And I know you remember this quote because I've told it before, but Nick Saban got hired at Alabama. He was on a plane flying from Miami to Tuscaloosa with the athletic director. AD looks at Nick Saban and says, Coach, tell me, did I just hire the best coach in the country? And he said, no, but you just hired the best recruiter in the country.
yeah,
And that is what made Alabama so great. Not that they had the number one team for however many years in a row it was, but it was the fact that they could get all that talent and stack it up. So
yeah,
our backups were 4 and 5 stars. But now in the transfer portal era, a 5 star is not going to sit at backup for 2 years because they can transfer out if they don't make starter and go play somewhere. So I
yeah.
think that's what he saw was I can't build a football team like I'm accustomed to doing, and he got out.
Yeah.
So I think that recruiting versus coaching might have started to show up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Um, I got one that I was kind of. I don't know. Let me make sure. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Vandy over 4.5
I like it.
because like they got Diego back. Tim Beck's back at OC. Eli Stowers, the tight end's back. Um, I mean, I looked at the schedule. I see 3 guaranteed wins: Charleston Southern, Georgia State, Utah State. So that's 3 there. That's 3
Right.
wins, and then they got to beat what's left: Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Bama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, and Tennessee. I think they could easily beat Kentucky because I think actually Kentucky and Mississippi State's probably going to compete for that last spot.
Yep.
Um, so Kentucky could be 4. Missouri, I'm not that high on. I could see that. I could see Tennessee. I could see South Carolina, and I could see Virginia Tech. I think if as long as they win Charleston Southern, Georgia State, and Utah State, which I think they can, um, but it is Vandy. They can lose those too. Let's be honest. Um, but I think if they win those 3, they're easily going to get 2 more wins with what's left. Well, I wouldn't say easily. Nothing's easy with Vandy, but they could get 2 more wins out of that schedule. And I don't know. I'm gonna believe in Diego. Um, Kid is a beast. He's a cocky little sob, but he's a
Yeah.
beast.
I mean, you gotta respect him for it.
Yeah,
I mean, just for Vandy to be able to have somebody that is cocky is impressive. So, yeah, no, I actually had looked at that for a minute and almost because I wanted to pick one like low win team, kind of like
mm-hmm.
that, to pick an over on. Um, Not to segue into that, but I think my low win team. that I want to see, that I think that I'm going to pick the over on. I'm going with Willie Fritz, man, and 5.5 at Houston. Second year there. I think he gets to 6. He gets bowl eligible this year.
I love it because I'm a big.
I know, and I know that
I
Houston team had a long way to go, but I'm gonna trust in Fritz and think he finds a way to get to 6 wins.
I actually wrote that one down, but I didn't do any prep on it. I decided not to do it, but I would take that bet too. I think they can win. I think they'll win the first two, Rice and Stephen F. Austin. Um, Oregon State, I could see them winning. Colorado, I could see them winning.
Hmm.
Let's say they lose to Texas Tech. I think they can beat Oklahoma State, Arizona, West Virginia, UCF.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see it. I think they get bowl eligible. I
I
really
think they
do.
do too, man. Speaking of, while we're there, not to get off topic, have you seen Colorado's recruiting class for next year?
It's I didn't. I think I seen somebody posted something about in the hundreds.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's sitting at 100. I think they have 5 total commits so far.
I think. I mean, that's just. I think that's how it's going to be. With 3-run home run. Um.
Let's go, Murph.
Sorry. Us Braves fans watching Braves. Um. Yeah. I think. I think it's. That's always been the case though with Colorado, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see how
true.
it keeps going. He's definitely a portal guy. I don't know if you've seen, but also Dion's been some kind of health issues been going on again.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
That he's like out. I don't know how much. I don't know, man. That stuff keeps popping up, and I hate that. I think Dion's great for the game, but I don't know. I just don't think he cares to recruit. I really don't. So far, it's working. We'll see. This year will be the telltale, the tall
Yeah.
tale, because he ain't got his son. He ain't got Travis Hunter. He ain't got those wide receivers that were there. We'll see. We'll see how this year goes. But one thing I've learned so far in Dion's time since he's started at Jackson State is I'm just gonna wait and see because anytime I've doubted him before, he's proved me wrong. So
Yeah. No, you're right. But sorry, I didn't mean to jump off topic. I saw that
no,
right before we got on the show, though, and I was curious if you saw it.
I don't really have. I have one more that I could throw out there. I'm kind of scared to. It is a team that I have as a sleeper team. Um, I've talked about them before. Washington Huskies 7.5. I don't think people and I would take the over today. I know people are going to go crazy about that, but I don't think people are talking enough about Demon Williams Jr., the sophomore quarterback. I was reading some stories today when I was prepping for the show. Jed Fish, head coaches don't typically do this, especially at quarterback. But he has said some like wild, ridiculous high praise for this kid as a sophomore. Like he's gone out and said that this kid is going to be in the NFL. Like he's usually with the younger cats, the coaches kind of like temper expectations and try
Yeah.
to, not kind of handle like Sarkeesian has with Arch,
Right.
kind of sidetrack the questions, keep him out of the limelight. Not Jed Fish for this kid. And I'm telling you, this kid is impressive. I went back and actually watched this bowl game a couple of weeks ago when I was bored and didn't have nothing to do. I know it was a bowl game, but he passed for 374 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think he had 1 interception, 48 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. He's not getting talked about enough, but I think people need to remember that name. They also have Joanne Coleman back at running back, who had 1,000 yards, and they have a kid Denzel Boston, a wide receiver that I'm seeing a lot of 2026 mock drafts have him high up there in the wide receiver, like maybe the second or third best wide receiver that's going to be going to the NFL's draft next year. Looking at their
Wow.
schedule, they do have a tough one. They got Ohio State and Oregon, but they got Michigan too. So I guess we could say Michigan could be a loss. But they got Colorado State, UC Davis, Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, UCLA. That's 6 right there, in my opinion. If they turn out to be what I think they could be. and then they just got to get two more wins. Illinois is on there. I think they could beat Illinois, or I think they could beat Illinois and Michigan, but I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I'm really high on them. I could be wrong, but I think Jed Fish is gonna his year two is gonna be pretty big in Washington.
Yeah. You've been high on them the whole time. I'll be honest, I haven't looked a whole lot into them just yet, but I know you've mentioned them a couple of times as kind of a sleeper team.
Yeah. All
So
right. You have any other ones before we
let's
before we
let's
go?
let's let's throw one more out there since we got like 5 more minutes than we normally go. Let's talk Indiana. Let's talk Indiana. 8.5. What's
Um,
your first thought?
my first thought, actually, I looked at them earlier. I don't remember their schedule. I'm gonna look at it, but my first thought, without looking,
Yeah.
I earlier today, I went under, but then I did a little bit of research on them. I don't know, man. I think we're doubting Cincinnati. Dang, I can't even say
So
his name.
so I was doing some. Signetti has won 11 games, 4 out of the last 6 years, and counting his time in Indiana and James Madison. Um, I know they lost their quarterback, but they're bringing in a 3 yard passer, a 3,000 yard passer from Cal, um, in Mendoza. So I don't know, man. My first thought too was under. Um,
Well, I'll tell you what. I looked at a on three recently did their top 100 players. And the guy that wrote the article is an advanced stat analytic guy, so he uses a lot of advanced stats.
yeah.
He had like 9 Indiana players in the top 100,
Wow, that's impressive.
and
And again, their schedule. I mean, there's four auto wins, right? Like automatic wins, and
yeah, Indiana
then
State, Kennesaw, and Old Domain or Old Dominion, and
one
I think they could
more,
beat Maryland,
and Purdue.
Purdue. So that's
So
what
you're
four. That's three,
that's
four,
five.
five.
That's five.
I think they could beat Wisconsin. That's six.
Yep.
Um,
And then they'd have to be Michigan State, Iowa, or Illinois.
I think they could do that.
That's what I said. When you start looking at it, and you know, I think if I had to put money on it, I'd pick the over right now because I think there's ten possible wins on there.
I
Um,
would go over too.
yeah,
I think I shitted on the head coach in the Notre Dame game because I thought he coached scared, but yeah, overall I'm a huge fan of his, so I just think we shouldn't doubt him. He's proven people wrong at every turn. He's kind of similar to he's similar to DeBoer to me as far as like stop it,
dude, I'm so glad you didn't trade Matt Olson.
oh no, it just happened. Grand Slam?
hmm
Wow.
He's still on your fantasy team, right?
No, he's not on my fantasy team. Is Ozuna on base though? Because he is.
No, I think that was Michael Harris. No,
Great.
Azuna's on deck.
Oh, great. Uh,
Anyhow, sorry, it was a
yeah.
grand slam. We
Sorry
got
for
to
the
stop.
base talk. We're finally getting a win, so we're a little happy here. Yeah, I'm high on it. I'm not high, but I think
Yeah,
people are sleeping on Indiana because of who they lost. But I think the quarterback, like you talked about, I don't think people obviously didn't watch a lot of Cal football. I can't blame them.
right.
Um,
Comes on too late.
yeah, and I subjected myself to it at times. They were a decent football team, and he's a pretty decent quarterback, especially considering the offensive line that he played behind was really bad.
There's the Indiana had some really big pickups in the transfer portal on the O line, and they're saying it could be even better than last year. Now those are projections because they're replacing a lot, but they were apparently replaced it with a lot of talent. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Austin Riley, thank you, buddy. All right, great show. Sorry if we Didn't do as great as we normally do, but we can get back in the swing of things. I think next week. I don't want to look it up and have dead air. I'm pretty sure we're doing our Heisman draft next week. Um, I'm a sucker for those drafts. I love them. They're fun. Um, Actually, going to try to probably do a guest on that one with Austin because three is better than two. Um, so yeah, next week, come in next Thursday. We're gonna have a Heisman draft. We're gonna draft our Heisman, who we think could win the Heisman this year. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel at CFB underscore SZN. Subscribe to the follow the Twitter page at CFB underscore SZN. Also, we appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight, and we'll catch y'all next Thursday.
See you guys.